8, 9,
Aloha mai kako. This is Drake. I'm here in the papaya field in Kea'au, Hawaii, and these trees behind me are genetically modified, and they're also typically sprayed with heavy fungicides and some gnarly petrochemicals that may grow the plant well, but less and less so as we move into the era of radical fungus and microbes moving away. So what I'm doing here is a pilot project to treat these trees, which are already kind of been farmed conventionally, and treat them with indigenous microorganisms as well as organic homemade medicines, so that we can grow this fruit that's not only good for the soil and the environment, but also good for the consumer that eats it at the end of the day. So what I got going over here is a couple barrels. I'm going to fill those with starch, salt, water, and microorganisms, and I'm going to propagate them from somewhere hundreds of thousands up to trillions. And then the next couple days I'll be spraying these out here into this field, and also doing a treatment of preliminary treatment of the fungus and get the microorganisms under control out here. And then really my main goal is to diversify the microorganisms that are being grown, so that the trees can then thrive without the use of any other fungicides or unnatural or petrochemical based fertility methods. I'm here at my water station. My water is already overflowing in this 55-gallon drum here, so I'm going to turn that off. So what I've got here is some already cooked potatoes. I steamed them up in a rice cooker using electricity from hydroelectricity, and they're fully cooked. So what I'm going to do is take about, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 potatoes. It's about a potato per 10 gallons. This is about a 55-gallon drum. And I'm going to put them into this paint strainer bag here and mush them up. So now I got the potatoes in the bag. So I'm going to submerge them into this water here and start just squeezing them, foaming them, and mushing them up. The idea is really the starch source provides food for the microorganisms, and you can see it, maybe you can see it starting to kind of go out into the water there. And the idea is to get it really mushed, because the starch is going to provide the carbohydrates necessary for these microorganisms to propagate. So I'm going to mush them up for about a minute or so and get back to you. So as I'm starting to mush the potatoes, the water's starting to get kind of cloudy. You can see that. The cloudiness, again, is the potatoes being mushed into there and making it highly available for the microbes. Now that I got the potatoes in here, it's nice and starchy, milky looking water now. The second thing I have to add is minerals, and this is sea salt. So combining it's a real raw sea salt, and since this is about 190 liters for 55 gallons, just roughly around that area, this is 190 grams of sea salt. And so I'm going to add that in, and then I'm going to stir it really good towards the end. But add that sea salt in there, give them all the minerals they need. And then last, I'm going to kind of collect some microbes. So in this little bit of forest right here, I can see down on the ground, there is all this dirt forming nice ball-shaped clusters, nice clusters of dirt. So this isn't rock, this is actually well, that is actually a rock. But a lot of this dirt down here is shaped into these balls, and this balls indicates that there is high amounts of microorganisms in it. So what I'm going to do is just gather the top 1/4 inch of soil in the aerobic layer that's coated with microorganisms, and look for nice mycelia, nice balled up dirt, and collect about a whole, as much potatoes, as much dirt as I put in potatoes. So, okay, so I got my bag of really nice microbial rich soil. We call this leaf mold. Got my thing of potatoes, so now I'm gonna dip the soil into the potato mix. And I got a little string here to create like a tea bag type effect. And what I want to do is start to massage this, and now you can see the water starting to turn a little brown. And as I massage this, what I'm doing is I'm freeing up the microbes that were in those soil clusters, and they are now being spread out into this water. And I'm going to massage this as long as the potatoes, because it's breaking up fairly well. And there's also a few rocks in the bag, just because, shoot, there's a lot of rocks out here. So it's going to help it sink down like a tea bag down into the bottom of this guy. And so in this barrel I now have my potatoes, starch, my microorganisms, and some salt, which acts like Gatorade. So I got starch, salt, starch and minerals and microbes in this barrel. I'm going to just give it a nice good stir after I teabag this thing up, and let it sit for 24 hours, and we'll see what happens. Should start to bubble and get nice convection currents going, so they get some bubble rings happening. And hopefully all these microbes are going to power up and then go out to this field and fix these papayas up for us. So here I am in the papaya field, and there's all this really tall grass growing in the center rows all over this field. This really tall grass is growing because the rows with the papayas are actually presently under a scorched earth policy. So the farmer comes by with his Roundup and herbicide and glyphosate and toxic poison and sprays the rows to keep the weeds down. And in this field, the middle row where the roads are, where the tractor drives, where the cars drive, has been enabled to grow, and it's growing this tall ass cane grass or fountain grass or whatever. I'm not exactly sure the species of it, but it makes really good mulch. And so what I'm going to do to transform this project is, instead of a scorched earth policy where essentially the only thing they're trying to grow are these fruit trees and they're not really thinking about the soil, I'm completely going to change the paradigm and start to completely, instead of farming the trees and using this scorched earth where the trees themselves, you can see by this dead leaves and stuff, the trees are actually being attacked by a fungicide, and there's no beneficial microbes to prevent that. They're essentially being kept alive on life support, and this scorched earth does not allow the ground microbes to even be there. So this row here, I just worked it, and where there used to be tall grass in the center here, I've now cut the grass down, cut it down low, which this used to be, you know, up here, cut this grass and simply moved it here onto the row. And so where it used to be scorched earth and it used to be just any kind, this whole row here now has this nice layer of grass on it, which is going to enable the microbes to colonize, to find a home, and to eventually strengthen themselves in the soil as I start to inoculate and spray more beneficials to colonize and then protect our trees up above. So instead of just growing these trees here, I'm now growing this entire soil, and this entire field is now under cultivation and going to come to life, and subsequently all the minerals and everything that's out here is going to be broken down by microbes. It's going to return to fertility, and then the trees will be able to uptake it. So instead of looking at this grass as a competition and trying to scorch earth and kill it like this row here, my row here is going to be full of life and full of you know, just the way nature does it. Leaves fall, trees grow. And so this same principle, applied natural science farming, high-tech, extremely scientific, biology-based natural science farming. Hey-ho. Okay, so it's March 2nd. It's been 2 days since we started this. And, looks like it's a little past. There's the rings here on the very edge. It's not, so it looks like I should have pulled this a bit sooner than today. Smells okay. Doesn't smell too terrible. So, but this GMO is a little bit past its prime in terms of when I should have used it, but still bubbling, and it's a good sign. So I think it's still on its way up. So I don't think it's a total waste. Plus, it will act as a fertilizer if it's not exactly microbes. So I don't know what the hell this is. Some funky ass stuff on the top. So what I'm gonna do? Pull these out, wash them off a little bit, and rig up my spraying equipment. I see the potatoes got pretty well digested there. So cool. So I got my my Toyota Tacoma here, and my rigged up tractor. Build this sucker up. I'm gonna start spraying this row here.